Ramble.
Welcome to Curious with Josh Peck. Start the show. Welcome back to the Curious Podcast with me, Josh Peck, and you, the listener, and welcome. This is just a great ass time together. We, you, me, here we go. Are you ready? Yes, what a week. What a week it's been. Been staying at the mother-in-law's a lot. Turns out children are, they're relentlessly needy. Fuck. They just need you all the time. They're very cute about it, mostly. I can't believe it. You know, my best friend Len's mother is this fabulous Russian woman, Silva, and she has sort of this old Russian saying, which was like, you know, when it's your kid's shit, it's like, you know, it's like gold. I'm not translating it perfectly, or even maybe remotely, but just like it won't affect you when it's your kid's shit. You won't mind changing the diapers, and I'm here to report it's awful. It's happened. It's total. I just because I'm connected to him, I doesn't make an impact. It's just equally as awful as if it was a stranger's poop. I'm just kidding. Because, you know, you got to go that way for the bit. What am I going to get all sweet and tell you the honest thing, which is it's absolutely, completely cute and fine. I'm happy when he poops because, like, I know he feels better. And that maybe once he does that, then he'll, like, feel content for a minute and then maybe drift off to, fingers crossed, a 3-hour to, 11-hour siesta and just leave me alone to focus on me, my favorite subject. But, yeah, they really need you. They really need you. But they're cute. He's a good kid, I think. So far as babies go, he's good. He's like, yeah, he's good. He's not overly shitty. He's not that baby at the restaurant who's just like, you want to like pay the parents to leave, where you're trying to enjoy your like crab cake or your sampler platter, and you're like looking over at your date going like, who the fuck would bring a fucking kid to the restaurant at Nordstrom's? Who the fuck brings their fucking kid, a fucking newborn, to Applebee's? I'm trying to enjoy my fucking onion ring tower. Fuck! You know? Because that was me 9 months ago. I was that guy. I was, I wasn't a complete, I would never say anything to the parents, because what are you going to say? You're going to be that guy? You're going to go up to the parents and be like, listen, I know you've got your hands full, but you've made a infraction. You've broken the social contract, and I think you should take your child and go, and your wife, and all your shit, your baby carrier, your weird car seat, and all that, baby bag, and just pack it up. Go. Just leave money on the table. Don't wait for the check. Put cash on the table and leave. Just go. Because you're interrupting my fucking, macaroni and cheese bites. Oh, my God. But other than that, it's great. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to overly talk about my kid. It's just like, obviously it's a main subject in my life right now. And I'm sure some of you would write me in response to that and be like, no, we love it. It's you. We're in for you. It's so cute. Yeah. And then other, I'm sure there are some of you out there that are like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Who cares? God, great. Stop bragging. Good. You've become that dad already. Who are you? Anyway, Super Bowl this weekend. That'll be exciting, right? It's just a big, it's the closest thing we have to religion, right? At least in America. I mean, if they were like, we're all going to worship together in a cathedral once a year, would we all go? No. I mean, how many people watch Super Bowl? 100 million? Would 100 million people show up? Fuck no. There would be a Real Housewives marathon on, or someone would have, have to go to their local dispensary or fight with their wife, or their kid had T-ball, or like a myriad of other excuses so that they wouldn't show up. But this one event brings us all together for, like a third of the country. For 3 or 4 hours. I can't wait for the tweets. Oh, everyone's going to have an opinion. But it's going to be good. I mean, it's fine. I like it. And I'm not like a huge sports guy. But, God, that Tom Brady. Jesus. What's that like? I'm sure he has problems. You know, if there's anything you learn in this life as a human being, as you grow a bit and you're slightly enlightened, you sort of realize that no one gets off free of charge. Like no one's making their way through life completely unencumbered by self-doubt or neuroses or emotional turmoil or dysfunction. But I bet like Tom Brady's one of the few that doesn't. I mean, fuck, man. Just you're handsome and so good at something. God, so good at something that the world watches. Fuck. Like if you're incredible at the recorder or at fixing watches or at being a tailor, these are noble professions. But, there's no audience and it probably won't make you a rich man. But it just so happens that Tom Brady chose to be great or was blessed to be great at something that everyone is stoked about. And that would, make him rich beyond his wildest dreams. And also, I'm sure it didn't hurt to help him meet, one of the most beautiful women on earth. I'm sure they love each other. Their love goes much deeper than their professions. But if Tom was not Tom Brady, the quarterback, if Tom was the pharmacy tech at CVS, I'm just saying that he might not have had the chance to meet Giselle. And this is no reflection because I'm sure Giselle might have been at that local CVS and seen that pharmacy tech and said, that's the guy for me because she's deep like that. Or so I've heard. I don't know. But I would imagine so. She seems lovely. But God, so good. And now he's going to go do it on like the biggest stage possible. I mean, it's not the World Cup. I think that has some more viewers. But this is like top 3, right? Biggest events? I don't know. Good for him. I like any holiday that's an excuse to eat chicken wings. Basically. I just like eating. There's very few things. I had an exchange with my good buddy Lucas yesterday, and I don't know. I was just feeling like myself, which is like slightly nihilistic, which I don't exactly know what that word means, but I think it kind of fits into this scenario. And like a little curmudgeonly questioning my place on this earth. I know, boring uptown problems, white people shit. But like, I think I wrote him. I said to him, do you ever wonder what all the fuss is about? And he said, that's all I wonder about. And then he went on to say something really like prolific, but I didn't ask his permission to read what he said. And so it's like, it wouldn't be right for me to say. But then I wrote, I'm not sure that life gets any better than a cute thing my kid does in between being relentlessly needy or sleeping past 8 a.m. or cake or talking shit amongst friends or a nice view or perhaps jerking off. And other than that, I think, it's nice to want to, win on the big stage and get that huge award if it's, that big trophy or that big promotion or whatever that relates to you, to be the talk of the town and the recipient of overwhelming amounts of love and kudos and admiration and validation. But inevitably, I think it's like these little things that are truly the only things that are worth being excited about. But again, I don't know. Anyway, on today's show, Jude Angelini, Rude Jude. Well, that's his moniker. He's got a very successful Sirius satellite show on Shade 4-5. Eminem sort of discovered him back on the day when he was on the Jenny Jones show. But what a guy this is. One of the smartest, funniest, deepest people that I've ever met, and had such a incredibly colorful and challenging and specific childhood, and he turned that into these incredible stories. He's such a talented author. He's written books called Hyena and Hummingbird that are some of my favorite that you guys should all go out and get immediately. And my boy Ryan Tomlinson, shout out Ryan, put us in touch when he found out that I was a huge fan of Jude's, and he just showed up to the studio and was down to chop it up for 2 hours. So please enjoy Jude Angelini.
That's right. What about you?
I'm in Brentwood.
Fucking A, dude. Nice. You're a LA dude, though. You're native, right?
I'm from New York.
Okay.
Originally, and but I've been in LA since I was 14.
Okay.
So it's very much a part of my.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I grew up in like North Hollywood area.
All right.
Yeah, Valley kid like Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What was the Valley like then? Was it cool?
I would imagine when I hear you talk about like where you're from in Michigan, I mean, obviously they're very different, and yet there's something, I have a true love for the Valley.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially like I remember when I first moved out here, there was literally remember they were wearing the trucker hats for a while there. It was the one that
Von
said,
Dutch.
Yeah, the dude that had one that said I don't date 818. Like it was just. Just having an 818 area code was like a death sentence trying to holler at a chick out here, man.
I guess so. And now I'm so proud of it. I'll keep my 818 forever, as long as they'll let me keep it.
Yeah, I had the 213, which was like
Wow.
one better than 818. Everybody wanted 310 or 323. But that was like 01, trying to holler at chicks out here.
And now they're gone. 310, you can't even get it anymore.
For real?
It's like 917 in New York.
No shit, it's a wrap.
Yeah, 212 is gone too.
It's old school. That means you're like old school, OG. Keep that shit.
Yeah, I love that there's like a class structure according to area codes.
It really is funny. That's all that really is. It's the class undertone.
Right.
Like, oh, you're broke, or you're a fucking bumpkin living out in the 818 in the Valley.
I mean, North Hollywood was, it's funny to everyone that doesn't live in LA.
Yeah.
They just hear Hollywood in the name and they go, oh, that's got to be not bad. Like it's Hollywood. That's where they make the movies. But North Hollywood is a good 8 miles away from anything that remotely looks like how you see it in the movies.
Yeah, and the Valley's kind of weird too. I remember I told the story often. It was like I understood like hood culture in Michigan, but I didn't understand Mexican shit out here. And I remember having to go to a meeting in North Hollywood somewhere. But I was like, it was kind of a crappy area. And like it was some like Cholo cat in 7-Eleven. He's looking at me, and I'm looking at him like, "What's up?" He's like, "What's up, man? You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah. How you doing? How you doing?" Like I'm like, "Are we finna fight or fuck?" Like I don't know what's gonna happen right here. Like I didn't know how to play that situation. I was like, "Let me just get my 5-hour energy drink, get the fuck out of here," because it felt like the end of training day. That's all I know.
And how is that different than like the culture as far as when you're in Michigan?
Well, hood people, it's just like they just
less talking.
It's just they'll call you out your name or some shit like that.
Right.
Or I should beat your white ass or some shit like that.
That was more the Michigan style.
Yeah, that would be more. I remember one time like I was at like I was fucking. I had to stop. I was gonna go holler at this chick, and I had to stop and get some gum because I didn't want my breath to stink. You know what I mean? Like, didn't want a bad Yelp review, and it was just a gang of fucking cats. Some dude just came up and was like, "You buying me this?" And it was one of those deals where like I could fucking not buy him a 35-cent pack of gum and fight him all of his friends, or just buy him the gum. And so I was like, "Hey, you want anything else?" Like,
yeah.
I grabbed a Snickers, but here's a Snickers bar too, bro. Like, have a good one. Like, but it was all him some like fucking like just some fucking beasted on me shit. I guess if I was in prison, I wouldn't have been able to let that slide because then I got raped every day. But like, just at the gas station, I'm just trying to go fuck this girl. Like, like I'm just trying to go smash this chick off of Jefferson. I don't want to have to fucking deal with like him and 15 drunk dudes.
When it's between buying a pack of juicy fruit or getting knocked out, just buy the juicy fruit.
You know what? And I got friends that they will die on that. They will die. They'll go out on their shield over the juicy fruit.
Yeah, that
and
honor.
I respect that. But I'm like the pick your battles guy. I'm like, I'm out of war. You know when to retreat, man. Like, all right, this ain't worth it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I don't want to die in like an AM PM parking lot.
Straight up.
Yo, I remember. It's funny you talk about a Yelp review as it applies to hooking up with a girl. I remember there was this girl that I had spent like 4 months of my life with, and we had a good thing. And after we hooked up the first time, she said, I have a blog that I talk about every person I've ever been with. So you're gonna be a number. And I was like, word? And so, of course, paid no mind to it. But
Right.
2 months in, curiosity got the best of me, and I'm like, well, let me go see what's up. And it was, first of all, I was number 72. That caught me by surprise.
Damn, son. Damn, bro. 72. And she's dividing too, so that's probably like 92.
Right. And I had to decipher certain shit too, right? Because obviously she keeps it anonymous, so I'm like backdate. Like I feel like I'm in Minority Report. Like, well, no, 71. That doesn't line up with our certain date structure and whatnot.
Straight up.
And so finally, I started seeing 72, and the initial review was not the best.
What? One, how did you know it was you? And then two, what was the review?
So she was 44. I was 24.
Oh man, what are you supposed? Bro, she's a wily vet.
Yes.
She's got all the moves down in the box. She knows how to hook the arm and fucking slam dunk on you. What are you gonna do? Like, she's got 20 years of dick experience on you, bro.
It's true.
So what did she say?
I was in my rookie season.
I know.
Yeah, it was early. And so, I remember, because we lived in the same apartment complex. So
Okay.
as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, got it. And, she just basically said, like, I was excited. It was this new thing, and he's way younger than me, and I have no business doing this.
Yeah.
And then once it started to happen, I quickly realized why I don't do this sort of thing. Yes. Yes.
How old did you was what, 24 you said?
I was 24, and it was my first, and no matter what, your first time with anyone is,
It's nerve-wracking.
yeah, and like you're not in quite a rhythm yet. You're not totally comfortable.
Yeah.
And then, but I was so happy to see that she was like, but I think I'll give him another chance, and we'll see what happens from there.
It's fucking magnanimous of her. Did she give you another chance?
Well, first of all, my biggest fear was there was a comment section because people read that shit.
No
And luckily,
shit.
no one was like, this kid sounds like a fucking loser. Like,
Right.
that would have been the worst. But she did give me another chance. And then I continued to read the posts because now it's like this weird game I'm a part of.
Right.
I'm like Trump watching Fox News every morning.
Yeah, you can't help yourself.
And the reviews started getting better. And Homegirl started getting sprung and saying, I hope I run into him at like our local Starbucks and whatnot. And I felt pretty good about it.
So you bounced back.
Yeah, I would say if I was a restaurant on Yelp, I'd be 4 stars, 3.5.
I never review a restaurant in its first month anyway, because they got to iron out the kinks. They got to,
Right.
The kitchen's got to match up with the servers. Like, that was you.
That was me.
And like, yo, honestly, man, like I would take that as an opportunity to like learn some shit. Like I remember going out with the old chick, and she taught me some class shit. She just took me out to dinner, and it was like a fancy restaurant. I'd never been anywhere like that before, and a motherfucker came out with one of them crumb squeegees.
Yeah. Scraper.
Yeah, that shit fucked me up. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like they squeegee in the table. Like this, like anything's possible. Like I was like, this is amazing. Like there's more to life out there. I remember just being really inspired by that shit. And I was looking at my homeboy because she took me and my homeboy out. Like she was like on some big mama baller shit. And I was like, you see this shit? And he's like, yeah, this is crazy.
Does that, coming from sort of humble beginnings, does that level of,
pomp and circumstance and whatnot. Like, does that make you uncomfortable on a certain level?
I got to go to school with rich kids. So like my parents got divorced and my dad wanted me to go to like my mom's neighborhood. It was metal detectors, teen pregnancy, shit like that. And then it was new money in my dad's neighborhood. The downside was, me and my sister, he got a 1-bedroom apartment in the crappy part of that town.
Right.
And my sister and I each had a closet. So we had a mattress that was our bedroom. We just slept in closets. And I got to be around people with money, so I wasn't uncomfortable. I had a bit of a inferiority complex, but it didn't totally fuck me up like being around rich people or being in a place where cats had cash.
And do you think that I'm always fascinated by this because I similarly, like, I grew up, in New York City, single mom, never met my pops,
right.
Only child. And sometimes we had money and we were very middle class, and sometimes we just didn't.
Yep.
And we fell on hard times and had none. And my mom pulled a similar thing, which is like when you get an apartment in the good school zone. So you're going to school with all the kids that have wealth, and you found like this weird loophole by having like a studio apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember from early on, as far back as I can remember, I knew I was different. Like, I did not have a traditional family system that I was like different from my fellows. Do you have did you always feel that way, or was there like a distinguishing moment where you were like, nah, my home life does not look like my friends?
It was when my dad moved us over. It was when we left. When I left my parents divorced, and my pop had like bounced around, and we lived in all these like, just typical, just shit apartments, and he'd be a roommate in someone's house, and we'd sleep in the attic on the weekends, or just stuff like that. Then when we finally got settled down in Rochester, Michigan, and like I remember like driving and seeing the houses, and they were like nowadays the McMansions, but I was like, what the fuck? Like I just could not believe this shit. And that's like, you don't know you're broke until if you're surrounded by broke, you're normal. Like this is normal. And then when you see the other shit, then you're like, oh damn. It was I remember Michael Jackson was real popular, Thriller was popping, and there was like a breakdance competition at some mall far away. So my mom got all of the kids in the neighborhood. We all piled in like fucking 10 deep in the goddamn Chevette. You know what I mean? Like seatbelt laws didn't matter back then.
Field trip.
Yeah, so we bomb in there, and I had made a Michael Jackson glove. So I took my dad's work glove, and then I just took one of my sister's purses and ripped that bitch up and just glued the purse onto
some glitter shit.
Yeah, just glued the glitter purse onto the glove, and we rolled up in that bitch. I was so proud of my little glove. I was, gonna watch him break dance. Like, this is the shit. I must have been like 6 or 7, and then I saw all the kids with like the real leather zipper jackets, and the real gloves, and they was flooding their pants. And I took my glove and I threw it in the trash, and I was ashamed. I was like, that was like, there's moments like that where you're like, I'm not measuring up with the rest of these kids. And growing, like, when you're young, you're not all the way sure yourself. I wish I had the backbone. Like, well, fuck it. This is my glove. I made that glove. But I wasn't there yet. I didn't feel that good about myself,
But is there any way to know that shit without going through the immense pain and like dire straits of the experience? Like I always hear people say, like, if I knew then what I knew now, or if I could impart any. I was listening to Mark Maron interviewed, and he was like, yeah, I've had an untraditional sort of a rise in success, and later in life I've attained a lot of my goals. And the guy said, well, if you could give any advice to a younger comedian or entertainer, what would you say? He's like, I can't, because my shit was born out of desperation. Like, I had no option. Like, I was in utter pain, and it was that or shrivel up. You know what I mean? So it was like those things that you're talking about, like those experiences, like I've had similar things where I wish I had been emboldened to be like, fuck them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be who I am today if I wasn't completely and utterly floored by experiences like that.
Yeah, it was kind of like when I go on my radio show, I'm like boss up, do your fucking best, be accountable for your actions. And this isn't me coming from a place of like I'm a hero. Like I was like, these are all things that I had to learn on my own too. Like I had a victim mentality. I was really insecure. I was jealous. I was fearful. I was a coward at times, and then you make up lies to because no one wants to look in the mirror and be like I'm a coward. Then you come up with reasons why you're not fucking doing shit, and these were all things that I had to figure out on my own. So I think I'm grateful that I was able to get out of that. I see people stuck in it into their 40s, into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're like stuck. I'm grateful that I was able to get out of it. And if I like, and then you'll see some little kids running around. And you're like, this kid's a fucking rock star, and he's never gonna have to worry about that shit, and he'll be fucking fine. And like,
do you ever wonder what that's like? Because I know what you mean, and I see certain people like that. I'm like, what's that got to be like to not be carrying this fucking suitcase of pain and experience with you?
I know. I'm like, I hope you're dyslexic.
God.
What's your struggle? You know, like
so, gluten intolerance.
Yeah, straight up. Oh yeah, I hope you can't eat bread, motherfucker.
Yeah,
no, but I don't. Yeah, it's funny. I remember. It's fucked up as it sounds. Like I used to see happy children, and this is like 5 years ago, and I'd see like these happy kids, and I'm like, "Fuck, you so happy about?" Like it was like this straight up jealousy because I didn't get to have that happiness as a child. Yeah. You just get over it though. You get wiser, I guess. You there's intelligence and wisdom. You know what I mean? Like some people are real smart, but they're not very wise. So now I'm just trying to work on becoming wiser, and that's like knowing how fucking dumb I am. Like just being realistic about my flaws, my weaknesses, how dumb I am, my inconsistencies.
I wonder what you think, because like, you know, so many people who are, you know, in our position who have had like certain success and emerge from, and our stories are so different, and yet like emerge from struggle and challenge and what have you. And you always hear people say like, I wouldn't change a thing because, you know, I wouldn't be here today if I changed anything. But, you know, and I think that that's incredibly like, you know, valuable and great. But I also don't have that thing anymore where I'm like, yeah, like I want to hear about your struggle, and I want, like, I don't. If you didn't have any of that and you're just cool and unencumbered, great. Yeah. Like, I don't think one is better than the other.
It's like the luck of birth. Like, I don't hold that against anybody and that's what it took me a really long time to get to. It's like, no one has a choice of what vagina they came out of and what country they live in. Like, it's just like, it's all luck. It's arbitrary, I guess, is the way. Like it does, and then you just do the best with what you have.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, you were talking about it. I was listening to your interview with Tully, and you were saying how, like, you know, right now there's so much about like white privilege and whatnot, and that's so much a part of the lexicon and the conversation. And yet you were like, the one thing we don't address is just how like rich people hook up their friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if you're born into something like that, or you went to private school and an Ivy League and you have that Rolodex, like you've sort of been installed into this system that will take care of you as long as you're not a complete fuck up forever. And it sort of keeps out outsiders to a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the way the world is and shit. Like, I don't know, like that's life. And then once you can come to terms with that, then you can learn how to operate within that system.
Right.
Like play the game. Like this is what it is. Figure it the fuck out. Everyone's got a superpower. Everybody's got a superpower. Just figure out what your fucking superpower is. And sometimes it's what you view as your weakness, but like everyone's got their own little superpower. Like I'm the white dude on a rap station. That could be that could work negatively against me or it could work positively against me. I took the positive things about it. There's certain shit like I know my musical library is fucking giant because of where I come from. My rock, rap. My grandfather was a jazz musician, so I'm able to bring all that shit in. I take advantage of the stuff of the things I can take advantage of, and I play to my strengths. Like like growing up, like you had to be like everyone had to be the tough guy and this and that. Like I was never the tough guy. I just was the wild dude. You know what I mean? Like I played to that shit.
Right.
I was often the token white dude in like some real fucking hood situations, and I found that the way I behaved would be just be fucking wild, and cats would be like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? Like, I just hit them with the "what the fuck." I wasn't in there shook, like, "Oh my god!"
Right.
They're just like, "Damn, that white boy's crazy." You know? And like that was my superpower. That was like I was eating pussy. No one else was eating pussy. Like I was pulling chicks just because they was like, I wonder what a white dude's like. Like, fucking come, I'll try my best.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'll
put in that extra work.
Yeah, I had to start eating ass when when the rapper started eating pussy. I was like, nah, I gotta eat a butthole just to fucking separate myself.
How do you one up them now?
I lick armpits.
You heard it here first.
Not all the time. One time I did it tasted like wood chips, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, that sounds rough. It tastes like weird toaster bits.
Yeah, I don't think they're into it either.
The burnt pieces.
I think it's bad for everyone.
Audible. Don't you try to act like you don't know Audible. Oh, you don't know Audible? Yeah, I think you know Audible. All right? They only have the most audiobooks on the planet. Okay? Done. They win. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like a bragging thing. We're just like, yeah, we have the most on planet Earth. That's us. Audible. No big deal. Like we're not here to brag. We're just stating facts, and you can choose to do what you want with those facts. It's really not our business. Anyway, there's never been a better time to start listening to Audible. With Audible, you get access to an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivation, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, and more. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now with Audible Originals, the selection has gotten even more custom with content made for members. Recently, I listened to my buddy Robert Greene's new book, The Laws of Human Nature. And it's like, I'm cooking, I'm listening. I'm working out, I'm listening. I'm driving, I'm listening. I'm multitasking here. And I think that's what like very successful CEOs do, but I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that. Anyway, Audible, they're just inspiring minds with compelling stories, and it's the best place to listen. So get started with a 30-day trial when you go to audible.com/Peck or text Peck to 500-500 and listen for a change, will ya? Come on, this is exciting. One more time? All right. Go to audible.com/Peck to get started or text Peck to 500-500 and listen for a change.
Where did your parents come from? Like, did they have a similar, sort of challenging upbringing, or what was their?
My mom was like Catholic, so it was six kids.
A lot of kids.
Yeah. But like my grandfather was a teacher, and my mom my dad snatched her up early, and my dad was he's immigrant son, Italian. So like. And my nunu was a hard man, so he was like very abusive to my dad. And like they were in the projects, and they worked their way out of it. But my father just he just was, a lot of this is a reaction. Like he could never keep a job for more than 6 months,
right?
And it was never his fault. It was never him. It was always somebody. It was always another, just reasons. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just reasons. And we have, even in our fucking little 1-bedroom apartment, you're like ducking the landlady because we're 3 months late on fucking rent and she can't bring herself to evict us because she doesn't want to like kick out a family and stuff. It was embarrassing.
Like he sabotaged himself.
He couldn't stop sabotaging himself.
And it was probably it's programming that he didn't even know was there. Like he wasn't aware of it, right?
Yeah, I think when you're beat that young as a child, it kind of breaks certain things in you.
Short circuits.
Yeah, and look, man, my dad had a lot of positive attributes. He was always there for us. He would throw the ball, like go throw the football with us. He showed me, like he made us do chores. It's just like these little things that I'm grateful for. He came out here to be an actor. Never booked one fucking thing, but he tried. So I copied off of him. Like I wasn't the first. It wasn't my idea. Like it was his idea, and I copied off of his idea to come out here and fucking do it. I wouldn't have left my fucking neighborhood,
right?
If it wasn't for seeing him do it. I think what kills a lot of us is we have these mental blocks. We put these mental blocks where it's like this is not possible for me, but like anything is possible for you. Like anything is possible. You can do it. It'll take fucking sacrifice and hard work, and you might lose some things along the way, but you can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
I feel like people aren't willing to be uncomfortable. And the entire journey or taking a leap of faith in that respect requires you to be uncomfortable for a amount of time that you're not aware of how long it's going to take.
Straight up.
And I feel like most people aren't willing to they favor comfort, and that's their, I have to get out of that because I grew up, I feel like when you grow up in a non-traditional household and sometimes you have money and sometimes you don't, you sort of go either one of two ways. Either you fiend security and you hold on to everything as tightly as you can and you hoard because you just want to feel okay and be in control of your destiny, or you get such a deep case of the fuck it's that you literally are unattached to everything because it's like you don't want to live in that same world that you grew up in. But
you just explained my sister and me to a T.
Really?
Yeah, my sister was the first. I'm the latter.
Wow.
I'll order everything on the fucking menu because I can, and then like maybe I'll eat it or maybe I won't, and that's my luxury. Like I work for that luxury. And my sister's the exact opposite. She'll like fucking, she's packing the bread. Like come on, and like she saves everything. She's really good with her money. Like,
and do you guys butt heads about that?
No.
It's a good balance.
It's like we're not sharing a bank account, so like,
right.
Whatever the fuck you want to do. But like, I totally understand that. I really get that. It's funny how it's funny how, and you'll see it. You'll see like new money motherfuckers. Like you can smell new money from a mile away. Like gaudy as shit. Like finally got it. Like you're finally there. You're doing it. Giant logos of rich shit all over your body.
But it's all chasing, salvation, and to a certain extent, like whether it's women or finance or prestige or what have you, it's just like we're all, I heard Russell Brand once said like we're all seeking God in some respect or whatever you believe in. He's like, and when I buy this new shirt for like 5 minutes, I'm delivered. Like, I feel okay about myself with this new shirt, or I got her number, or I got that gig. Yeah. But inevitably, anything material, anything of this world, even the good shit will, come up short eventually. It will lose that nullifying power. But, I ask about your parents because, I'm a big fan and I've read your books and I've listened to you over the years. And what I find really refreshing is you have this sort of healthy perspective with where you come from and your parents, and I don't want to say forgiving, but you're very much like there's no resentment, or at least as you've put it out there. And I think that by understanding where they came from, it allowed you to sort of put any sort of frustration to rest because you understand they had a similar challenge.
My stepdad, like, he was 22 when he married my mother, and he married her with 2 children and a fucking maniac ex-husband. And he, ended up developing. He became an alcoholic and developed a cocaine. It was like one of the classics: getting in a car accident and fucking painkillers to coke to like it was just the typical shit. And I hated him for years. And then once I got older, once I became 22 and then 23 and 24, I was like, I would never in a fucking zillion years at 22 sign up for a fucking lady with 2 little asshole kids and a fucking maniac man. Like, there's no way. So, like, hats off to him for trying. Like, it just, once you get older, you get perspective on shit. People are human, man. Like, we're all doing the best we can. And
even the people that suck are probably doing the best they
that's
can.
the thing.
Right?
That's the crazy shit. Like, no one's like, you know what? I'm going to wake up today and just fuck shit up on purpose. Like, people are... Yeah. I remember like getting real mad at Jamba Juice because they kept fucking up my order and shit. And then I'd come home all fucking extra mad. And my girl at the time like, you're fucking negative, and she was probably right. But then like I stopped, I'm like, yo, bro, like this lady's 47-year-old working at Jamba Juice. This is probably the highest that she, like, I know it sounds mad fucking patronizing, but like, yo, this is probably the best she can, like... This is it. This is it. Not everybody's gonna be like a fucking mathematician, and sometimes putting shit in a blender's hard, and I guess that's hard for her. So
how are you gonna fuck up a razzmatazz?
Straight. When I had that, when in the first book I talk about the PCP overdose, and it really knocks some IQ points off of me. Like I'm just not where I used to be.
Will you tell that story?
I ended up. I had a thing for ketamine, and it was dry out here. So then I was like, let me see about PCP because they're related. They're both fucking disassociatives. So I'm like, all right. I said something about it on the air, and that's the crazy shit about this. It's like me doing a radio show, and I'm sure for people that listen to your podcast, they feel this intimate connection with you. So one of my like regular callers who lived down South Central was like, "Yo, I need some mushrooms, and I got PCP. You want to trade?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I end up down there, and it was just like a fucking shit show. I didn't know how alleys worked in LA. Like alleys are like in Boys in the Hood. They're in the back. He was like, pull up in the alley, but I thought where I'm from, alleys run the other way. They run perpendicular, not parallel to the street. So I pull up into what I think is an alley, what I think is him, and walk into like a gang.
Amazing.
That's like, and lucky I look like a cop. So they're like, "What's up, man?" And I'm like, "I'm looking for Solo," and none of them was Solo. And then. I'm getting a call on the phone, and it's Solo watching from the thing. He's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?" I was like, I don't know. And now they're asking me like about the size of my clothing and shit. So like I'm walking away. Like I'm like walking away quickly.
Nothing good happens in an alley. No one's like, I met this great person in an alley, and now we're getting a condo.
Oh yeah. So I get in there and we swap, and he's like, "Yo, check this out. This happened in my alley today." And it's like okay. Like this is after I walk into the middle of the like. He's like, "Yo, watch out for them kids, man. They're some killers." I was like, "Yeah, it seemed that way."
Yeah.
He was like, "But they my killers." I was like, "Awesome." Like, me and him, we're good. We're still like, I'll call him and check on him every now and again.
Solo?
Yeah.
You keep up with Solo?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and he's doing his own thing now. And, but he's like, yeah, he's like, watch this. And, it was like this gang member getting jumped into the gang, and it was like some street in the 40s or 50s, and basically you had to get hit and take that many blows from 2 different dudes. So like it's a triangle, one guy and then 2 guys fighting him, and then like this old head cholo, and he's got like some bad chick next to him, and like he hits the timer, and they're just like whamming on each other, dudes leaking, and my man like kind of the guy's that's getting jumped in throws like a kind of like a no looker lucky shot and just knocks out one of the guys, and they call it off, and everyone's all bloody, and the girl comes in with the fucking towel, and they're hugging each other. He was like, "Yeah, that happened this morning." I'm like, "God damn." Like, and he was always showing me shit like that. I go down there and be like, yo, check this out. And it'd be fucking it was like a bum picking up bottles, and just these two young gang kids walk up on and just shot him for no reason. Shit, he was like, shit's crazy. I'm like, Solo, bro, like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like,
but is that to your point of like he was stuck? He had a mental block. He couldn't.
Well, that was my when I told him to, like, I was like, yeah, bro, like, eat these mushrooms, go off into the woods, and man, just like think about life and shit. He was like, woods? Are you fucking crazy?
Like, what?
Like, he felt the way about the woods that I felt about that fucking alley. You know what I mean? I'm like, this ain't for me.
Bad neighborhood.
Yeah, like, this ain't for me, and he felt the same way. So I got the PCP, and it sat in my fridge for months. For months and months. It just sat there. It was next to the mustard. And finally I was coming back from New York, and it was like on my daughter's birthday of all days. And she was turning like 15 or something. And my homeboy's like, yeah, I'll smoke it with you. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we are at my other homies. I'm dipping it. And you dip it in a cigarette, and then you let it dry. Yeah. You smoke it. Well, we didn't let it dry all the way. And here was the problem: it was kind of like ketamine, so it was a familiar feel. So it gave me this false sense of security, like, oh, I know this. Oh, I've been here before.
Sure.
And you're just supposed to hit it like once or twice or some shit. I don't know. The cigarette he handed me was still wet, so it was like just dripping. And I'm like, man, I'll get it. And I just keep hitting, trying to get it to like dry out.
Right.
But the whole time I'm hitting, like, I'm taking hits of PCP. And I remember Lou Reed being on.
What song?
I don't know. It was like, it wasn't Walking the Wild Side or anything like that. Maybe it was. I don't remember. Maybe I think I wrote it in the book, but maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it started going poorly.
And I remember there was a magazine, and I went to go look at it, and I just turned into like I bent down. I looked like an upside down L, and then I went catatonic. I just fell out, and it was like the craziest trip ever.
And so you're lying on the ground, and you're with a buddy, like a close buddy?
I'm with a couple of my friends, and to the outside, they're watching, and my eyes are wide open.
Right.
And they're like, hey, Jude. And in front of me, they're smacking me, nothing. Like, I'm dead to them. Like, it looks like I died. Like, and in my brain, I'm fucking like, I'm time traveling. I'm on different planets. And as I'm in one situation, like, all my reality, just picture like a straw, like sucking it up and then spitting it back. It's another thing. I was on the luck dragon, dog. I was flying around on a luck dragon. I was kicking it with Peter Dinklage or what it was.
Oh, word?
Oh yeah, I was on a different planet because I was
great actor.
I was way into fucking Game of Thrones books and shit. So like I was fucking like kicking it with his ass on some motherfucking planet. Like wow. I'm chilling with my daughter. Like all of this.
Khaleesi there?
Nope.
Ah, man.
Nah.
See, that's why drugs are bullshit.
I know, you can't really, yeah. And well, I remember, the funny thing is like, and it felt like I kept like, I was so paranoid that I was gonna, you always end up fucking naked or on PCP. And it felt like I was coming. So I was like, I finally came to and I was like, am I naked? Did I come? And they're like, nah, man, you're good. And then I fucking went back to it. And that shit fried me.
And you weren't scared. You were on the ride. You were okay with it.
I didn't even have a choice. There was no choice in the matter. Like
conscious
thinking about fear was not even in it. Like I was gone. Like I was knee deep in these weird dream-like situations. Like I finally came to, and I was in a spaceship, and it was like powered by like coal, like this like steampunk spaceship being powered by coal, and I'm in the bowels of the ship shoveling coal into
not an efficient energy source.
I didn't think this one out in my trip, and that's how I came to. And I was fucked up for weeks, like months.
In and out of hallucinogenic state, or just couldn't get this like weird.
It was a fuzz. I couldn't track. I couldn't walk. It took all concentration just to use a mouse. If you gave me 4 numbers in a row, I couldn't keep the numbers, and I couldn't keep them.
And what if you hadn't gotten out? Did you start considering that? Like, what if this never gets better?
I was it was like. During all this time, I came to terms with things. Like I forgave myself for, like, I think a lot of us have self-destructive tendencies, and I just kind of for a while I was really very mad at myself for what I did,
right.
And then I forgave myself, and it was just like, look, man, you'll get better, you'll figure it out. It's like those are your options. And
were you doing anything like trying to eat like organic or
oh bro, I was
shakes?
It was like niacin that was supposed to be like, I ate so much niacin that my pee turned orange. It looked like Orange Crush.
That's cool.
But then I want to see if my dick works, so I jerk off and it looked like a fucking creamsicle. Like it was like I was busting orange nuts. It was fucking crazy. It was like, so yeah, it was like yeah, and then in that moment, it really fucking. I remember I used to get frustrated when people couldn't keep up. Like I'd be talking to them and they couldn't follow an idea, or,
right.
And now I became that person that couldn't follow a fucking idea, and it really gave me empathy for other cats. It was like, okay, like not everybody's on the same level, and you were kind of a fucking cocky asshole, and like chill the fuck out.
And why do you think, like, I'm sober 10 years.
Yeah.
And because I'm a child actor, so I went too hard, too fast, too quick.
I couldn't imagine.
And at 21, it was a wrap. And, you know, some of the stuff I've done, people would look at me like I'm an insane human. And yet, for some reason, hallucinogens always scared me. Because I had done mushrooms a couple times. And I'm glad that I did it, actually, because I feel like it opened up something in my brain that allowed me to see the world differently. And yet, always within 2 hours, I was like, oh, wait, I have 4 hours more of this shit. Like, and then I would try to go to sleep, which is don't close your eyes on hallucinogens because that adds a whole new level to things. And, you know, I have a proclivity for going dark, especially at that time when I was like, you know, obviously trying to run away from something that was really deep seated. And so because I know like you have an affinity for smart drugs.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, you talk about like, cocaine, all that kind of stuff had no, you know, you always stayed away from that. And yet this, like, why do you think you sort of gravitated to this kind of drug?
It was pragmatic, man. It was,
I know you said because ketamine, the hangover wasn't as bad as other stuff.
The buzz to hangover ratio wasn't as bad.
Right.
And the buzz to hangover ratio wasn't. And then it turns out like they're using it to treat depression. And I kind of like stumbled upon that accidentally. You know what I mean? It would give me a new way of looking at things. The dissociative effect would actually kind of knock you off your square. You could break down your problems in a different way. You're not, sometimes, you know, you can't see the forest through the trees, they say. Like, so it kind of took me out and it helped me like break down problems. And that's why I would do that. And it sucked because like all the drugs that I liked, and then I was naturally curious too. There's this curiosity. All right, so let me expand my mind. Let me try to do this. Let me try this hallucinogen and see where it takes me.
Did you ever do DMT?
Yeah, and I didn't have the I didn't do enough where I crossed over. It was like antelopes and shit started running across the ceiling, and it rang my bell. And the fucking my epiphany of that moment was like, I remember like all of that was happening. I was thinking about my ex, and I was like, you can do all the drugs in the world and it's not gonna heal this for you. Like, that was my epiphany.
And what do you attribute to? Because I feel like how old are you?
40.
So you're 40, and I feel like you've been going fairly hard for 20 years.
For 15, yeah. I was pretty sober until I got the job at Sirius because I didn't want to be a loser. I knew how they looked at me at my old high school, and they looked at, since those were all the rich kids, we were like the white trash loser. I was called a wiggers and shit. So like, I knew how they looked at me. So I had this fucking point to prove. So I was really on my P's and Q's. I didn't do shit. And then once I got the job at Sirius, I'm like, let's go nuts.
Right.
So it's been 14, 15 years of just going fucking dumb hard.
And is it losing its allure?
I don't know. Sometimes you get bored with it. Other times you hurt yourself.
You ever get scared?
Like, not fearful, but like there's been times where I've injured myself where I'm just like, you always picture yourself like there's something in me where this is gonna sound dark, but like there's something in me where like if I die, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those deals where like if I die, fuck it. But God forbid I'm uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Like and I found that drugs have made me uncomfortable, and I don't like that. Like that's the shit that I'm not crazy about, and I've had to temper my use. I've had to stop certain things. There's just stuff I won't do anymore because I ruined my insides. And I never thought it would go that route. I just thought it would like be something cool, like one of them fucking, you know, when someone ODs and then they're on a t-shirt.
And do you feel like, I mean, because like when I remember towards the end of my run, and granted I was young, but I remember that my mind had turned on me slightly. So yeah. I feel like my body could have, I was fairly young and good health. Like I'm pretty sure my body could have withstood for another, decade or so. Who knows, right? You never know. But I remember that I would do whatever, substance was in front of me, and immediately, like, I didn't even have that 5 or 10 minute reprieve and that, cigarette where I was like, this is what I've been chasing.
Right.
It was immediate. It was like, I'm dead. Fuck it. Fuck. This is the one. Like my mind
no shit
turned on me, and it just was like, that's it. You did it. It's done. Like, and like I'm seeing visions of my mom at my funeral.
Right.
And like all these things. I was like, nope.
Was that torturous for you?
Yeah. I mean, as far back as I can remember, and it's funny you talk about, God forbid I should be uncomfortable. I've been perpetually uncomfortable my entire life.
Yeah.
And so what drugs and alcohol afforded me was like this reprieve from self.
Right.
And I remember hearing someone once say, like, I wasn't trying to kill myself. I was just trying to kill the part of me that wouldn't let me live. Like that shitty committee in my head that was always like, you're not enough, you're fucking whack. Like, and especially when you're powerless as a kid from your situation and your surroundings, because your parent is the one that has to provide.
Right.
I hated being powerless, and I hated the idea that, like, I don't know when this discomfort is going to end.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sure that's why I was attracted to, drugs and alcohol, for sure.
I know it's funny. It's like sometimes you choose to lose control as control, you know what I mean? Just to gain some control. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, it's like bulimia and shit like that, or
right.
Cutting or whatever. Like, it all comes down to it. And we were both fat kids, man. I was fat too, bro.
Were you as fat as me? I was good and fat.
I was like, I had titties,
Word, yeah. Same here.
I was like, I was swimming with a t-shirt on. I'll put it that way.
Oh, you haven't lived until you swam with a t-shirt on.
Oh, I get sunburned easily. Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
right.
Fat guy. All right, fat kid with the fucking t-shirt on with the sunburn. All right.
Fuck, I have a picture of me at 14 years old on Santa Monica Beach with a Siegfried and Roy tank top.
You have more balls than me. You exposed your arms.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure no one will understand. This is just a dope-ass muscle tee from the Mirage in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'll get props on this one. Tigers, right?
I mean, and did you, because I remember growing up, and then there were certain guys that were naturally bigger that played on the football team or what have you,
Yeah.
and they had no isms or airs about them that they cared about their size. It didn't stop them from getting girls or like feeling confident. But as far back as I can remember, and I think because like my mom's bigger, and like my uncle was really into like being fit, and always felt like he sort of looked down on my mom and I for it. So
Yeah.
it was like it was a source of shame.
Oh yeah, and I'm born in the '70s, so like bullying was fair game, and
Right.
yeah, I was fat jokes on me all the fucking time. Like I was eating shit all the fucking time, and I'd try to come back with my mom was a hippie, and she really did me a disservice because I'd be sitting there trying to reason with them. When you say these things, it makes me blah, blah, blah. And then like finally, once I got a little older, I was like, just hurt them back and they won't hurt you. Like literally had to figure that shit out the hard way because that free to be you and me shit, that doesn't work. That only works if everybody's doing free to be you and me. Like if there's 3 savages and 2 free to be you and me's, they're gonna get ate up, dog. Like
Yeah.
you have to raise your game. I remember like there were certain families back in Michigan where I just couldn't hang out with them because it was just too like they were just willing to go too far. Like I just couldn't. They were too crazy for me. They was just too raw, and I'm like I can't even like that they stepped it up a notch that I can't even touch. So we're not gonna hang out anymore. Like they was just too wild.
Get psyched for Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is an online personal styling service that finds and delivers clothes, shoes, and accessories to fit your body, budget, and lifestyle. Just go to stitchfix.com/curious and tell them your sizes, what styles you like, and how much you want to spend on each item. Look, recently I got like 2 beautiful shirts from Stitch Fix. You want to talk about nice. First, the material. I didn't know that they could bottle a dream and turn it into a textile, make it into a fabric that would just beautifully hug my body. And listen, I don't have an easy body. You know what I mean? It's slightly pear-shaped. Sure, it's still better than your body. So who are you to judge? Anyway, Stitch Fix knew exactly what would be the right shirt for me. Couldn't have been happier, and it wasn't too long. It was like that perfect length. I was just completely impressed. Anyway, look, you'll be paired with your very own personal stylist who will handpick 5 items to send right to your door. Then you try them on, you pay only for what you love, and return the rest. Shipping, exchanges, returns, they're always free. There's no subscription required. You can sign up to receive scheduled shipments or get your fix whenever you want. So get started now at stitchfix.com/curious and you'll get an extra 25% off when you keep all 5 items in your box. That's stitchfix.com/curious to get started today. stitchfix.com/curious.
I remember being young, and we would go back and forth between Florida and New York. My mom and I, because we had my grandma lived down there. And I remember like up until around like 7 or 8, I was living with impunity. Like things didn't hurt that much. I was getting by.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, because my mom would have to work, so I'd always have to go to after school programs. And I had to go to the Jewish Community Center from 3 to 6 every day. And those fucking kids were on a level of shit talking and teasing and bullying that I had never quite experienced. And I remember just walking into that lion's den for like my first day and going like, my life will never be the same after this.
How did you deal?
I think I've always done comedy, and it was born out of necessity. So I would try to make fun of people before they could make fun of me.
Yeah.
The saving grace was that I started acting young, and so whether people knew it, and I started getting some respect for that because friends would be like, yo, I saw you on I would do some dumb toy commercial or whatever. And they'd be like, you're on TV? Like, And so that would give me a little bit of get a little respect from some people. But mostly there was something inside of me that felt as though like I felt like I had this little secret of like, I know I'm fucking good at something.
Right.
Like I've got this thing and like maybe not now. And I mean, we all have an affinity for this, but I've sort of always perpetually lived my life in projection of the future of like when I lose the weight or when I get this level of success, like wait till you see me then. And who knows, maybe
You had vision.
yeah.
That's
Always.
fucking cool. Yeah. Not everybody has that, so that's like a gift. That you got vision. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And going back to the whole, like, I think it's important that like the bullying shit and all that, like I'm grateful for that because it taught me how to handle my own problems. Like I can negotiate, or I can get in and out of situations now. Like I don't like I never went and said such and such is picking on me, because in the real world you don't always have somebody to go run and save you. So like I'm grateful that I was able to figure that shit out, and it took some ass whoopings, and like there was some days where I felt like shit, but in the long run, just for me to be able to fucking make it in such a tough industry, like you gotta have thick skin and you gotta be able to know how to deal with people, and you have to know how to stick up for yourself, or else it's gonna be a hard ride for you, or maybe you'll find somebody that's gonna take 15% of your shit and then they'll do it for you. But
Oh yeah.
you see people that just get shattered.
Well, I got a kid on the way, and so
Congrats.
thank you. And I think a lot about this, I see, I'm 31, and so, it's very in fashion for my friends to be like birthing children, and they're so worried that the smallest infraction it's literal first world problems. Like if God forbid the child is uncomfortable for longer than like 11 minutes, it will leave irreparable damage.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, like Seinfeld has this great joke about like Seinfeld's generation was the first generation with childhoods. Like this whole idea of having a childhood, because before that in the 1800s, kids were the help.
Yeah.
You were working.
Yeah, they hand you a little shovel.
Yeah, get to work.
Go milk a fucking cow.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we like put so much value on this thing, and to a certain extent it's right, and yet it's like, God, like, yeah, I don't want my kid getting viciously bullied and scared to go to school, but inevitably, if they're not getting some shit from someone, they're like these delicate flowers that will wilt at a strong wind.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, kids shouldn't bully, but like also learn karate. You're like, it's
Right.
both. It's like, it's both. Like, you don't want your happiness to be left up to whether or not someone else is going to be nice to you.
Right. And yet, like, I look at you and I see, and you talk about like the last 15 years of hard charging, and yet you've been able to sustain so much success, and not only have this career on the radio and at Sirius, but write these books, and what do you attribute that to? Like, do you have a work ethic that it just is unflappable?
Just fear of being poor.
Yeah.
It's just straight up just fear of being poor. And then even writing the books was like, I knew how people looked at me. I knew how I was viewed from the outside. And like I've taken meetings before, and like I just knew how I was always the guy that was picked by the people and never by the bosses. You know what I mean? Like I got the job because M had watched me on Jenny Jones, and I did Jenny Jones. I was popular on Jenny Jones because people would call in. It was never like, the boss was never like, some guy in a suit was never like, I see something in that kid.
The gatekeeper.
The gatekeepers never saw anything in me, and if anything, like I felt like they looked down on me. So I wrote the book as a key to open doors to get opportunities. I was like, who gets respect? Authors get respect. Like, you write a book, you get respect. So let me get some respect on my name. Like, I just wanted
Really?
I just wanted some respect. Like, and then it turned into this thing where it was like, it got beyond me. I noticed that, like, when I went to go sell the book, like no one bought books that listened to my fucking show. I'm like, So now I'm like, we got to get people reading. Like, come on, y'all, like read a book. When's the last time you read a book? So now I'm getting the books to cats that hadn't read a book at all. And then I'm trying to encourage people to write. Like, yo, dude, you got a story, you got a voice, you write your shit down, even if it's just to process your feelings. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole group of people like that just aren't doing that. You know, like I got a bunch of blue collar cats that listen to me and they just don't read. Like, real talk, they don't read. And I post pictures, and then they would post pictures of like the shit that they're into with the book, and it's a lot of times it's like guns and drugs, and people would look down on that. When I go to be on a podcast, they look at my Instagram, and it'd be like my book with guns and drugs, and they're like, we don't want to deal with him, and I'm like, nah, I'm getting books to cats that are into this shit, like
right,
like. I'm getting cats that are into guns and coke to fucking read. I don't think that's bad. I think that's kind of cool. And I felt like they were being elitists. You know, I was like, yo, I'm trying to bring shit to the people. What are you doing? You guys are just jerking each other off. Virtue signaling and shit. Like,
and you also have to think, I mean, your books, especially considering their sort of short essays and what have you, like, if, you know, fucking, you're not going to get a dude who's, you know, got guns and drinking and doing drugs to read Moby Dick. Like, that is not going to happen. But if you're vouching for this thing, like, you love me, I vouch for this, this is more of who I am, just in a written form, like, enjoy. And most of these stories are like 4 to 8 pages. Like, yeah.
I got really lucky that, because I don't know how to write any other way. So it was just good timing. Like, I'm able to write a beginning, a middle, and an end within 500 to 1,000 words, and it gives somebody a little shot, like boom, boom, and then they'll read some more, and then they'll read some more, and they keep getting rewarded, these little rewards, and it makes them read more and more. As opposed to like novels, you don't always get that. You get like, oh,
yeah,
shit,
it's a
bro.
trudge.
You ever like, you read Lord of the Rings, bro? Like, he's
Jesus.
just two pages on what the trees look like. You're like, all right, I get it. It's leafy. It's fucking
well
bark.
done. Thank
Yeah.
you, J.R. Tolkien.
And, you know, and he comes from a different time. So, like, I just got lucky that my writing reflects this time of, like, this ADD shit where we're constantly on our phone. We're looking, we can't keep our eyes on one thing for too long.
And would you, given your druthers, would you just write? Or is that like, what for you, what to you looks like success in your life?
Getting
for the
money
next?
and leaving here.
Really?
Yeah.
Going back to Michigan?
I don't know, man. I'm like, I just want to get some, like, I want like some fuck you money, even if they're like, we want to get your book and we're going to have Shia LaBeouf play you. And
That would be
fucking,
that's fucking perfect casting.
and, you know, and whoever, right? Fine. Just give me a bunch of money. Like, I'll sell the fuck out. I've already worked hard on this shit. If it gets people to go look at the book and see the real of it, that's fucking awesome. But like, I just want to I want a lawn. I like trees.
Really?
I'm a Midwest dude. I really thought I was gonna come out here, blow the fuck up, and get the fuck home. I'm 40 and I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, and that's successful out here in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like, I'm stepping over needles and bum shit. Like,
so
there's more to life than this.
Suburb in Michigan.
Yeah, I like
nice
parking.
house.
I like parking, and I like lawns and trees.
Comfort.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I don't.
That's why I like the Valley.
Yeah, and it's like, and then the people from the suburbs shit on it, and they move to the city, and then they turn it into the fucking suburbs anyway. So like, that cheese store wasn't there before you guys moved here, champ. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, it's.
I did a movie in Troy, Michigan, and so I was there for 4 months. Tell me,
I fucking hate Troy.
why? Come on, Somerset Mall, Big Beaver Road.
Somerset is like we would go there and walk around in circles and look at all the rich shit, but Troy is like the epitome of everybody I dislike. Like,
why?
Troy reminds me of Santa Monica. Like, that's the best way I could put it.
Just affluent white people.
It's just bland. That's the best way I could put it. It's just vanilla as fuck, son.
Right.
They're not even Catholic.
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up far from Troy or no?
So I was like Pontiac, Auburn Hills, and Rochester, like in those three like little like that was like my constant circle right there.
John R. Road.
John R's East Side. I actually got robbed on John R. I was pumping gas with my homegirl had got me a sweater for my birthday, and she was like, "Wear this sweater." I'm working at a bar, so like I'm like dressed preppy with some cargos on and a sweater, and I'm on 8 Mile and John R. and fucking up comes a 15-year-old or like a 12-year-old with a 22, and he's like, and then I hear voices behind me. Run your pockets, bitch, run your pockets. Motherfucker, get on the fucking ground, bitch. And they call me all out my name and fucking there's a gun on me. And I'm like, I'm doing the fucking math once again. I'm like, I don't got health insurance.
Fuck.
So
can't
like,
get shot.
Yeah.
And want some gum too.
I literally did the chaturanga because I didn't want to fuck up so I got on the ground. I'm chaturanga because I got the cream sweater on that Ange got me. Shout out to you, Ange, in that sweater. We're still cool to this day. And I'm like, fucking chaturanga. They're running my pockets. I got $12. They got me for $12 and some Black and Milds. They leave me the gum. And they're like, take the car. And I'm like, bro, it's a fucking Hyundai, man. Like, for real?
Right.
And they didn't take the car. And I had warrants, so I just got in the car after I was robbed and went away. Like, that was, yeah.
Did you go to the date?
Yeah, I went. Yeah, and then this was how grimy it was. Like, I was such a fuck. Oh man, it was just scummy. Like, I go holler at my homegirl that bought me the thing. Then I ran into this other chick that I knew. She headed me off in the car. Then I jetted back down to Detroit and ended up meeting like my future ex of 5 years that night. So it was an eventful night.
Kind of a wash.
And the chick that blew me had TMJ, so it was just like
a lot of cracking.
It was just like it was a lot of clicking.
Yeah, I have TMJ, and I wonder like,
well, don't blow dudes, because it's gonna click.
If I blew dudes, it would probably not be the most romantic environment.
You're gonna have to give them some Bose sound canceling headphones.
Absolutely. Here, just throw these on.
Here's The Weeknd. Listen to this.
Yeah,
I got you.
Enjoy, Dean. I imagine his name is Dean.
I hope it is.
What? I feel like, and I've listened to you on so many pods, and there's like a, there's always specific stories out of the books that people want to hear and you talk about. Is there any story of yours that's one of your favorites that gets talked about the least? Like you always want to bring up, but people don't ask.
It's one. There's certain stories that are so dear to me that I really want the person to read the book. You know what I mean? Like, so my favorite stories I don't talk about because they're in the book, and I want you to read it, and I need you to read it in that order because it's gonna hit. That's when it'll hit the hardest. Like you read, like the story about my grandmother means the world to me, but I would never read that out loud. I felt like that book ends it. I often think about. I like the story about, and we were talking about bullying. So this kind of fits as a survival strategy. There was like one chick that was like worse off than I was in junior high school. Like she just fucking got dealt the worst hand ever.
Crystal.
No, I tell that story. I open the readings with the Crystal story, which is
sorry to interrupt.
It's a banger, y'all. No, this one was about Gertie, and it was like this. Like her mom was like mentally ill. She had some issues. She was like the dirt kid, ginger. She was like a ginger dirt kid that didn't know how to deal with stuff.
Tough.
Yeah, and like I was weak, and I didn't want to, and I would be picked on. So I like the way for me to not be picked on is to find somebody that's weaker and put the attention on them and pick on them. And I did that to her. And once I was a late bloomer, dog. I had like my dick was like a toddler. Like I had a toddler dick till like I was 15. It fucking sucked, bro. Like, can you imagine? Like,
Yeah, it sounds awful.
you're in gym class, and every day you're in the corner with your back turned. You're like Winnie the Pooh in that shit with your t-shirt on, like strategically getting undressed. So like I had all these insecurities. So like finally when like my balls dropped and I like got a job and I started making money for myself, I started feeling a little bit better about myself. I was like, I realized what a fucking dick I was to this Gertie girl. And then I went out of I apologized. I go check on her. I go see her in class. I considered her a friend. We didn't wasn't like we was gonna hang out, but like whenever I see her, I just made sure she was good, like on a daily basis into high school and like during high school. And then in my brain, like I was like, she was a good artist. And like in my brain, I was like, I hope that she's doing well for herself. And I went to the 20-year reunion because it was like I wasn't rich enough not to go, but I was doing pretty good to go. It was like I kind of wanted to be like, see, bitches, I'm not a loser. But I wasn't like so rich where I was like, fuck it, I'm on a yacht. I don't need to prove anything. I'm on a yacht. You know? So like I went to the reunion. She wasn't there, and then I was out washing windows with my cousin. That's what I used to do. I used to have a window washing route, clean windows downtown Rochester. And sure enough, man, there was some like chick with a ill-fitting t-shirt and belly's falling out and fucked up jeans, crazy hair, and smoking a cigarette, drinking a giant pop, just big ass fucking 64-ounce pop. And like I look and I turn around, I see her in the reflection, and I'm like, Gertie? She's like, Jude? And then she was like, why are you here? Like, I'm a loser. And I'm looking at you, and I'm like, bitch, you missing a tooth.
Which
like,
front six?
Yeah.
That hurts. It's hard to hide.
And she and I just, it was like, for my own selfish reasons, I was hoping that she'd be doing better than she was. But if you really looked at it realistically, this is probably exactly where she was going to be. And it was just like this heartbreaking story. And I wanted to apologize again. In doing so, and I already did apologize. So like my apology would have been this selfish. It was this selfish
for
need.
you.
It was not for her. It was for me, and I already did it once.
Right.
So it was like me masturbating. So I fucking I'm like I'm having this inner dialogue like fuck it, just apologize, while I'm squeegeeing the window off, and I turn around to apologize, and she was gone, and that was that.
Do you find that you have any, for lack of a better word, survivor's guilt? Like that you got out?
No. If anything, I have the opposite, where I have little empathy. Like I got, like, you see a lot of cats that like had to go get it. They have little empathy for motherfuckers that are making stupid life decisions. She was different. Like she had she had all these disadvantages, but other people don't, like sometimes, hey man, like, yo, quit nutting in fucking chicks, or quit letting losers come in you. And if you do, fucking, like, they got Planned Parenthood. Like, that there's all these ways to not fucking, to help break the cycle.
Right.
So, like,
do you think that people are aware in that position, or that, to what we talked about before, there's just a level of broken programming where they can't?
Yes and no.
Self can't fix self.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, if you look hard enough, there's a blueprint out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can copy off of somebody. But I don't know. I think it's based on the individual. So, like, I find it really patronizing to say that someone can't get out of their own way. It sounds like you think that you're better than them, and I look at all of us as I look at us as I treat people equally.
Right. So if you had never gotten Jenny Jones, do you ever contemplate like what that would have looked like? Do you think you would have gotten out of Michigan? I mean, I know. No.
I wouldn't have, man. I had it, like, I kept, in my brain, this was my thing. I was gonna, like, I figured I would teach at school. I would teach at a school because there was a lack of male teachers. So I was like, okay,
Right.
so that will give me an advantage. And then I was like, I'll teach kindergarten, so that way I won't have to really know shit. And then I was like, I just give them juice and fuck single moms. Like, that was the 18-year-old Jude's plan. Like,
That's a nice life.
juice and smashing single moms. I don't think, like, now that I'm 40, like, it's a bad idea. But, like, as an
Sure.
18-year-old, like, can you imagine, like, the fucking agita? Like, there's, like, 4 different single moms that you're smashing, like, showing up to pick up their kids at the same time? Oh, it'd be fucking a nightmare.
Yeah, it'd
But,
be a lot to manage.
But I was like, you know, just give them some graham crackers, smash the moms. Like, that was my life plan right there.
Nap time.
Yeah, nap time. They're half days. You know,
Yeah.
you only got to see them for 3 hours.
And they're not I don't know too many shithead 5-year-olds. Like, mostly, like, they haven't completely made a turn for the worst at that point.
I mean, some are assholes, but, you know,
Yeah.
like, whatever. 3 hours. Like,
yeah.
it's too
Throw-
bad. I'll drink on the job. I don't know. Like,
Throw a video in every other week.
yeah, yeah, I'll be the worst one. Oh, is it movie time again? Brave Little Toaster. Let's watch this shit. You're gonna love it.
There's nothing like Brave Little Toaster while you're on 2CB and
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my plan. And then the Jenny Jones thing has happened and it just kind of took off. And I just tried to, they kept bringing me back and I just tried to, at first I was happy just going on the show and being able to get into clubs in Detroit, but they didn't pay me very much. I didn't get paid at all. And I was like, this is pre-internet, so it wasn't like it's not like you could monetize a little bit of fame on your own. Like,
Right.
Like,
you were making $300 a show, right? On Jenny Jones?
yeah, and that was like, I had to negotiate that, you know what I mean? Like,
That's so fucked.
the cash.
And they flexed on you when you asked for more, right?
and then the way I actually made more money was I would crash on, I made friends out there with like some kids that went to Purdue who are out fucking just crushing it now. And I would sleep on their couch and take out the trash and shit like that. And fucking, so I go do Jenny Jones and make fun of people and sign autographs and clown. And then I'll go back to Michigan and work a shitty job. I was wipe down poles at a titty bar at like a super hood ass titty bar, All Stars on 8 Mile.
Still there?
Nah, I kept getting, man, they kept, that shit would get shot up all the fucking time. So like, they kept closing it. And I finally, there was no shootings when I was working. I quit because I was wiping down the poles and I was playing, I was on the TV while I was wiping down the poles because Jenny Jones would come on at like 12:30.
That's
So
amazing.
like, I'm wiping the poles, watching me on television, and the owner was just this Chaldean dude, Woody, like this old, just fucking not take shit ass Arab cat. I'm like, yo, Woody, man, can you turn it? He's like, fuck you, I'd leave, don't tell me what the fuck to do, motherfucker. I'm like, Woody, man, come on, bro, like, you're killing me, man. Like, I'm wiping the pussy off of poles for $1, maybe. Like, just give me a little bit, like.
Yeah, save me here,
Yeah.
Woody. I'm fucking begging you.
Yeah, and he wouldn't do it, so I walked out. I'm like, fuck you, bro, I'm gone.
Yeah, where's Woody now?
Probably caked up somewhere.
Yeah, Woody's doing quite well.
Actually, Woody's, he's doing great with a young wife and a lot of money, probably. So.
Yeah, Woody invented Velcro. Weird.
Post-it notes, that was Woody.
Did you get tipped out by the girls? Does the pole guy get tipped out by the...
Yeah, but they were awful tippers.
I
For
could
some
see
reason,
that.
hood bitches don't tip that well. I don't know. It's fucking, it sucked. Yeah, it didn't tip that well. And then that's when I end up going over to my ex at the time, who I met the night I got robbed, was she was going to school for dance, and she was a go-go dancer upstairs at this new gay bar, and they needed a bathroom attendant, and it was $12 an hour plus tips. And I didn't have to do the deep cleaning. I just had to do like pick up all the glasses and shit like that.
Did you have a station, cigarettes, some Tic Tacs?
Yeah.
Did you sell it? I mean, that's a good
Yeah.
markup in the bathroom selling.
Bro, I didn't know what I was doing the first night, and the gay dudes dogged the shit out of me. All I had was like some Big Red and like some cheap soap, and they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, they got real queenie on me, and they just fucking shit on me, and I was like, fuck, dude, like, I really got to step my game up. So I went and got like Eclipse gum, like I got the good gum.
High end.
Different cigarettes, condoms.
So you must have been making good money then.
Yeah, I was crushing. And then it was like one guy per stall unless you tip me, and then like, you know, throw me 10 or 20, and then you got to do whatever the fuck you want in there. It was usually just coke. I don't think they were blowing each other or nothing like that. And then
did they ever try to pull you in there?
They would hit on me, and I'd be like, I got a special someone. I never would be like, I'm straight, because then the money just would go away. So I'd be like, I got a special someone. And I remember seeing one of like the regulars out while I was with my girl and like having dinner somewhere, and he was just so crushed. He was like, I thought you were gay. I'm like, nah.
But I enjoy your
just open-minded. Yeah. I'm just open-minded. Yeah, and that was like, it was really, it's humbling, man. You go from getting cheered on TV and signing autographs, and then you fly home and you're in a little hole of a bathroom with your gum and your cigarettes, selling them $1 a piece.
You were like the unintentional Andy Kaufman, like when he was busing at Jerry's Deli while also being on Taxi.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, that was me.
Now, like, having accrued so many sexual exploits, and this might be a stupid question, so forgive me. Does sex ever get old?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think everything gets old. If, you know how I, like, this sounds awful. You know how I know, like, when I'm just sleeping with, I'll go through these phases where I'm just like going nuts. You know how I know is when I want to start butt fucking chicks, because I don't even like that, but it's just something different. I'm like, well, fuck it. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, slow down. Now you're just trying to sodom. Like, you just to fucking mix it up. You know what I mean? Like,
I think some dudes, for them, it's a power thing too, like a weird, like subconscious thing where they want to feel like this power trip over a woman.
I wrote about that because I was like the fat kid that was rejected, and I was angry at women when I was young in my life, and I had a 1 year phase of that where like I was just trying to fucking hit every hole, and it's just dominant shit. But like, I got over that. This would just be like, I don't know what else to do with you. We're not in love.
Shake it up.
Like,
let me see your armpit.
Yeah, straight up. You're like, fucking, you want to try the leash? Like, I don't know. Like, fucking, we'll hit each other. Like, I don't. Just that's when I know. Like, that's when I know that I'm just like ODing on sex.
Right.
And then I'll stop for. I'll just stop for a little bit. It kind of sucks because so much of my self-esteem probably still derives from like whether or not women like me.
Of course.
And it's like, and you're getting like this dopamine hit of having sex, and then like if they enjoy it, you feel good about yourself. But ultimately, like, it can be empty and quite heartbreaking, like.
Well, I find for me too, having come from a similar place, like when you see these sort of guys that have been exposed as of late, like the Weinsteins and the Cosbys, and like just, besides the fact that they're just fucking criminals and just unacceptable, deplorable human beings, what I also couldn't understand is like, for me, so much of the self-esteem comes from the courting and the schmoozing and getting a girl to like you, and then eventually like taking them out on a date or what have you, and then it's slowly like you're attaining a level at each turn till finally it ends in this thing. And that, for me, that chase is the allure, that dopamine hit of like, she seems interested, and the perfectly worded text or whatever, and to think that there's some like guys like that who like just for me to just get the physical side of it would have no allure.
It's like dudes who grab asses at the club. Like, I don't even understand that. Like, I want to grab a girl's ass because it feels good for both of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it seems very one-sided. Like, what's an ass? Like, yeah, like I felt an ass before. Like, why would you just be in the club grabbing asses? Like, who the fuck does that? But people do. Like, people do. I don't know. That was never my deal. Like, I was always the pleaser. So that was that's where I came from. So like, I'm just not built like that. But some motherfuckers are. I can't call it.
Do you see a great love in your future, like ever settling down with one person?
Ultimately, I'd like to, and I think that's one of the reasons why I want to go back to Michigan, just because I'm a Midwest cat, man. Like, I'm Midwest.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm just a Midwest dude. And out here, people come out here for different reasons. No one moves to LA to be like, I'm going to find a fucking really nice guy. Like,
Right.
like they got their own, they want to do their own thing. You know what I mean? And I don't begrudge them that, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I'd like to settle down, and I'm working on myself, but I'm also quite aware that of my behavior, and some of that is, it's like I want to be skinny, but I'm eating McDonald's every fucking day. Like, yeah, I want to settle down, but I'm doing all this shit that keeps me from getting a girlfriend. And
Sure.
I'm slowly eliminating those things, which would make me more boyfriend material.
I think you're boyfriend material.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I mean, this is our first meeting, so I don't want to keep you here all day. So I would say, like, my last question is that, you know, you talk about like how so much of your success or staying power had to do with fear of being broke, and yet I feel like there's got to be, like, as aware of you are of life and the human condition and sort of like the falseness of the things we chase and what have you. What is that thing that gets you excited about waking up in the morning or makes you want to keep doing it?
I think we were put here to create, man. You know, like I think we were put here to create. And I was tripping on mushrooms, and I was thinking about my family and how they're all artists on both sides, and how that runs in my family. It's in my blood to be an artist. So that's what keeps me doing it. Like, I'm a fucking, like, I look at my mom, she sends me these letters, and they're like these beautiful, she draws pictures. Like, she's not like, oh, I'm gonna draw a picture because I'm an artist. She is art. She lives art that she creates. And I was blessed with some of that in me. So like, that's how I get up and go to work, man. Like, it's a job, it's a grind, but like, I'm blessed enough to be getting paid to create something, to be creative. And I don't know how I would be a shit carpenter. So like,
Same here.
so it's just like, yo, this is what I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I feel like it's my job to tell the truth and be authentic and say my part. And sometimes it kills me and I don't get jobs because of that. But the people that fuck with me, extra fuck with me because they know I keep it 100 and I'm trying my best.
Do you think you're becoming more yourself at every, like, for me, I'm finding that the things that resonate with an audience are when I'm not trying to be anyone but myself. And at 31, like, I'm just contending with that idea because I feel like I spent my teens and my 20s trying to be what I thought people liked or what I thought success looked like. And there is sort of this weird reconciliation of realizing or becoming okay with the idea of, like, what I have to offer, my specific experience in life is attractive to certain people.
Yeah.
And there's something there that's worth sharing I've got something to say that's worth it. Like, do you have that becoming more yourself every day, more comfortable with sharing exactly who it is you are?
Yeah, I'd say that. I was really, before I dropped my last book, I was petrified. I was really afraid. I didn't know how I was going to be taken. I was really honest about my flaws and things that I was ashamed of. And it wasn't as funny, and I'm like the joke guy, you know what I mean? And it was like, and I think after I wrote that book, it allowed me to put my guard down a little bit more.
Because it was received well.
Yeah, but I didn't know how I was going to be received. And that was probably the most scared I've been in a long, long time.
Yeah.
When you put out something and you're like, God, I hope they fucking get it. They don't even gotta like it, but I hope they get it. And you know what? Once you put it out, it's not yours no more, and people are gonna take what they want from it. You know, they're gonna read it on their level.
Right.
And that's that.
Jude, thank you.
I appreciate you having me, man. Thank
This
you
has
so
been
much.
awesome. Thank you.
That was it. How great was that? Rude Jude. Oh my God. That's amazing. It was so. I'm sorry that I feel like by the end of the interview, I started trying to talk like him. I mean, you know, I'm a white guy who loves hip hop from a rather, city, like, a pretty urban area. So maybe I feel qualified, but it doesn't resonate the way he does. You know what I mean? He's got that. He's got that nice timbre to his voice that I probably will never have. But anyway, Jude, thank you, man. And thank you guys for listening. Because, again, this doesn't work if you don't listen. So anyway, have a great week. Enjoy the fucking Super Bowl. I think I'm pushing for the Patriots. And I'm from L.A. And I'm from New York. And why would I give a fuck about New England? But I don't know. I'm a big Tom Brady guy. I'm a fan of excellence. Because he gives me hope that if I can, even be 10% as good, I will have accomplished a shitload. But yeah, man, hope you guys enjoy. You overeat, get really excited, and you write some fire tweets that you're probably, if you look back on them eventually, you won't be proud of them. But, in the moment, it'll feel good. And that's what we're all about. Feeling good in the moment. Am I right? You hear me? Back there? You know who you are, Dave and Jennifer and Susan. Man, I really hope there are like people named Dave, Jennifer, and Susan. 100,000 people sometimes listen to these episodes. So there's a good chance that there's a Dave right now who listened to this episode and was like, is he fucking talking to me? Just driving my Prius on my way to go my job at UPS. And Josh Peck knows me. Oh. Anyway, guys, love you. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Thank you. Have a great week. Bye.